lads and lovelies. Captain Edward von Arkham here, coming to you from on board the MHS Hysteria. It's that time again. Time for another installment of Madman of the Month. This month, I pay homage to the bard himself, the one and only William Shakespeare. Actor, author, playwright, genius, regarded by most as the greatest writer of the English language. But I am going to set this straight. Shakespeare was a terrible writer. He was a brilliant author, but his penmanship was comparable to that of a hyperactive baboon. Look at his signature. You can't make heads or tails of those hieroglyphics. But aside from his atrocious handwriting, William Shakespeare was indeed the greatest playwright of the English language. In his life, he wrote a total of 40 plays, 154 sonnets, and countless poems, and told rather hilarious jokes as well. Will was one of the most charming men I have ever met. It's an odd state of affairs when a man can be bald and have long hair at the exact same time. And that collar of his was just outstanding. Kept him from spilling his tea on his shoes. Him and I shared a taste for nonsense. He taught me most of what I know about the theater, even cast me in a few of his own works. I played Puck in the original production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. I remember we had a rather close kerfuffle on opening night. It was a scene where I was meant to be speaking with a fairy who was meant to be flying by being held up by a stagehand beneath a sheet. But at the last minute, the stagehand broke his leg. Go figure. So Will had to jump in and substitute for him before the scene. Bless. However, Will was a wee bit shorter than the stagehand was, and he caught his foot on the sheet, causing him to trip and send the actor playing the fairy tumbling on top of me. A bit of a kerfuffle, but the audience loved it. Will thanked me for my help by giving me a beautiful journal wherein to record my exploits. Although I can only aspire to put down words as legendary as he. For what makes Shakespeare great is his timeless understanding of humanity. He understood because he had experience. He had lived and loved. He had been heartbroken and driven to madness. His only son, Hamnet, died of the plague. But like all great madmen, Shakespeare used his mad genius to craft words of wonder that would withstand the march of time. And I now pay homage to him by reciting my favorite of his sonnets, Sonnet 14. Not from the stars do I my judgment pluck, and yet methinks I have astronomy, but not to tell of good or evil luck, of plagues, of deaths, or seasons' quality. Nor can I fortune to brief minutes tell, pointing to each his thunder, rain, and wind, or say with princes if it shall go well, but oft predict that I in heaven find. But from thine eyes my knowledge I derive, and constant stars, in them I read such art as truth and beauty shall together thrive, if from thyself to store thou wouldst convert. Or else of thee, this I prognosticate: thy end is truth, and beauty's doom and date. Post 1616, Shakespeare lies buried in the church at Stratford upon Avon, where on his headstone is written, "Good friend, for Jesus' sake forbear to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he who moves my bones." Though he was mortal, his works were not. Well, that's all the time for today. Until next time, stay mad, my duckies. Said Hamlet to Ophelia, I'll do a sketch of thee. What type of pencil shall I use? To be or not to be?